colleagues and all the panelists. I'm very happy to start the panel discussion on the budget. Dear friends, first of all, I will welcome the panelists. We have with us Sanket Garg. For Sanket Garg, I will say one couplet कि इसी को कहते हैं हुस्न इत्तेफाक कि आज अपने ही घर मेहमान बनकर आए हैं. Sanket Garg is one of you. He has been our student in the department, and he has always been a very dear student to me and to other teachers as well. He was very dedicated, and I remember him always. He was curious in the class, always anxious to know much and more every time. And it is his hard work that paid the result to him. And today he is one of the leading chartered accountants, a roaring practice he has in Haryana, Gurgaon. He has with him as his team member, Ms. Shabina Fatima, who is a practicing company secretary and is having a wholesome experience of 5+ years experience consultant with a history of working in legal services industry. Is skilled in legal research, joint ventures research, corporate laws, FEMA regulations, and due diligence. Over the years, she gained a rich experience in sectoral audit and compliance matters and has proved her caliber in resolving numerous critical situations. A strong administrative professional serving a wide range of clients, including multinational companies, foreign joint ventures, public sector undertakings. Apart from the secretaryship, she has completed her BCom from CBA.
Disturbing sound coming from someone's.
No, please, sir, please continue. Your voice is clear.
Okay, she has done her BCom from CSGM University and come from Indira Gandhi National Open University and law graduate, and she is company secretary also. Dear friends, we have one more panelist here as one of our colleagues, Professor Mohammad Shamim. Regarding Professor Mohammad Shamim, I think he does not need any introduction. You all know him very well. He's a very dynamic, very vibrant, very dedicated teacher of our department. And whenever it comes to discussions, right now, I think he's a professor in the Department of Commerce, but even when he was a student, I have seen his caliber. I have seen his involvement in research. I have seen his involvement in extracurricular activities. And still he's continuing with his all charisma with his friends. And he is one of the most popular faculty members in the Department of Commerce. I welcome you all three panelists. And I thank Dr. Nayyar Rahman for organizing this event. All attendees, you must be knowing that budget is something, which is always a matter of concern for some people. Regarding budget, I would like to say one thing, that whenever the budgets are announced, at that time, you see, there's a lot of hue and cry from opposition side. I have seen, even ever since I have been in this education field, and before that also, I have always noticed that whenever there is a discussion on budget, so it is always opposition that opposes the budget. Irrespective of the fact that budget is good or bad, they are hardly concerned, but because it is their job. So every time. But for a common man, budget as such has nothing, but they only feel the impact of budget. Salaried class or the other classes who are having direct impact of budget, they are sometimes having some concern, and they look for the respite from the budget. Budget, you know all very well that it has 6+. It has concern for the human and well-being, health and well-being, physical and financial capital and infrastructure, inclusive development, and also human capital, innovation, research and development. And also it has some focus of the government governance, minimum of the maximum governance. So these are the 6+ of the budget 21-22. We have invited these three gentlemen and lady here to focus on the important aspects. I'm sure that this discussion will be serving our students in the long run, and they will be getting a lot of insight about the budget. So now I request Mr. Sanket Garg to start his discussion on this budget 21-22.
Hi.
Over to Mr. Sanket. Good.
Thank you, Nawab sir. Thank you, AMU, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to come in front of you all and to present my views in respect of the budget 2021. So, starting with, so the main thing of this budget is this is the digital budget, and it's not like the paper budget, which was presented from past many years. Apart from that, if we talk about the crux of this budget, so due to pandemic situation, the budget has not been like there is no higher changes in the budget, and the budget is very stagnant, and people are expecting more from the budget. But again, the government has played a very smart move, and they have reduced. They have only done very less changes so that they can able to control the pandemic situation. And I believe that they are giving some time, say a 1 year, say for say 21 22 to the India to see that how the things will move on. Frankly speaking, that budget is not giving that much of insight in respect of the individuals as well as the companies and all. So starting from the individuals, so individual taxpayers used to see the budget from a high hopes, because the reason is that, see, individual are in India are doing the jobs, are doing small businesses, proprietary businesses and all. So they are earning their money in a very so they are putting their hard efforts to earn the money, and they always look to the government to rationalize their taxes, because they want their hard earned money to be paid at the right place. The money should be used at the right in the right projects, in the right manner. So individuals always used to look the budget in a very positive manner. Now, if we talk about this particular budget, so we will see that there is nothing much more which has been done for the individuals in this budget. If I talk about the taxation rates, so there is no change in the taxation rates of the individuals, and the taxation rate are same as compared to the last year. And the comparison between the last year rates and the this year rate is equal. So this year also the individual taxpayers can compare the existing rates as well as the new rates, and then they compare that in which tax slabs their taxes are going to be reduced, and they choose the taxes. But there is no additional benefit which they are looking on for on taxes. Secondly, the government has then increased the make the interest taxable of the provident fund. So this is a bad part for the salaried employee. I will explain you what is this. Suppose nowadays what the either it's a government organization employee or a private organization employee. So employee used to do the savings in the form of the provident fund. Why they are investing in the provident fund? So any employee in any organization at any level used to invest their hard-earned money in the provident fund, so that they can able to use that particular money in the near future for say for their children marriage, for the medical, for different kind of for building the houses, and for different different purposes, for doing the business, say after their retirement, or for their leather and all. But this time what government has done is that if any employee will invest more than 2.5 lakh rupees in the provident fund, then the additional amount which they have invested apart from this 2.5 lakh rupees has to be taxed. Means the interest of that additional amount has to be taxed in his or her income tax return. So suppose if I am an employee of a company and I invest say 3 lakh rupees in the provident fund in a particular financial year, then 50,000 rupees, additional 50,000 rupees will be there, on which the interest which I will get will be taxed in the future income tax return. So this is a harsh move of the government, and they have to see that this should not be the case, because this will reduce the investment in the provident fund, and people have to look on the other opportunities to invest, to complete their ATC and to get the complete deduction. So this is the major part which they have played for the individuals. Apart from that, if I talk about the company's part, so there is no that much deductions or the benefits which they have given. However, the government has increased additionally the exemptions given to the startups for the next financial year also. Means there was a startup, if any startup is there and if a startup is having the tax profits, then the tax profit is exempt up to 2021 in the past budgets. But the government has continued that exemption, and the exemption is continued for 2021 and 22 also. So this is the good move for the startup companies, and since the pandemic was there, so the companies will get the benefit, of additional cash flows, and will not have to give the taxes to the government. Apart from that, for individuals, the government has also increased the deduction under the under section 80EE under the affordable housing scheme up to 2022 as well. So suppose if you are planning to buy a house in 2022, then in 22 also you will get an additional deduction of 1,50,000 rupees. So that's also a good move, and government has done the additions, means extended this move for the individuals. Apart from that, the government has bring a new provision for the companies and for the business houses, which is a very good provision as well, and I would like to highlight you. And that is the provision for the non-filers of the TDS. So suppose if you are a company, private limited company, or if you are a business owner, either in the form of the partnership, proprietorship, or any kind of the company. So in that case, if the individual has not filed the return in the past 2 years, and in the past 2 years, his or her TDS plus TCS, both the things has been, if you club both the things and the TDS and TCS value increase by 50,000, then you have to do the TDS deduction of double the rate which is in effect. Okay, it's a complicated provision, and I will give you some example to make it clarify more. So suppose if I talk about the AMU. So suppose AMU hired a contractual employee, okay, a contractual person for some contract, and that contractual person was having the incomes in the earlier previous 2 years also, and his or her TDS deduction was more than 50,000 rupees in both the years. So and he has not filed the return of income in any of the previous year before the due date. So in that case, when the AMU will give the payment to that particular person, then the rate of the TDS will be double the existing rate of the tax which is need to be deducted. So suppose if on the contract 2% rate is there, so instead of 2%, 4% rate will be there, which need to be deducted. So this is a bad move for the contractor or for the individual who will deal with the business houses. And it's a good move for the government that they will try to bring in more and more people who used to deduct who don't file their income tax return. So I will emphasize in this discussion that any people who is earning the money, any people whose tax is going to be deducted. So each and every people should file their income tax return, either himself or herself, or either through a professional, because you never know that what the government will do next. And one of the things which I really dislike about the budget or the Indian government is that they are doing the things on a retrospective basis. And see, retrospectively is not a good move, because it's just like, taking your own words back, because you never know that what you have done in the past. But suppose if you are going back and you are seeing that what the people have done and you are giving the punishment to the people, so it's not a good move, I can say. So the government should look after this policy of going back and doing the amendments retrospectively and seeing what the people have done in the past. Since as of now, we can see that India is a population of 130 million as of now. And only 7 to 8% people are there into India who are completely aware about the taxes. They know what the implications of doing something or not doing something, what need to be done, and all. So, frankly speaking, that going back and giving any punishment to any person, or implementing any particular law or any provision or any section, either under income tax or any other law, by going backward, is not a good move, because that will be a complete harassment to the people. And and it will be also having the difficulties, like people will face the difficulties in the near future. Because see, right now the section which has been brought in, so the difficulty of this section is that the company or the business house has to see the compliance. They have to now additionally also check that whether the individual has filed the income tax return or not. So they have also to they will say to the individuals that, okay, give your return. And many a times, because it's a very very confidential thing, and income tax return is not a journal like PAN card or Aadhaar card which you give to any person. It's a very very highly confidential data. So only to do a business dealing with any person, why I should give my confidential ITR to any particular person? Because I don't know how the person or the institution or the business house will use that. So it's not a good move, and it is unnecessarily increase the compliances for the business houses, for the organizations. But I think that when they implement this in the near future, and when the difficulties will come, then definitely there will be some corrective actions which will come from the government side. And then we will see that whether there should be change in this section, or there should be, the government will take back this section or not. So this is the in respect of the individuals. So there is not much more about the individuals. Now I come to the companies. So there is a very hot topic as of now which is going on, which is the merger and the acquisition. See, in the business world and in the corporate world, why a person is doing the business, what is the use, why a person is creating the company, why a person is building the wealth and doing lot of investment on and all. Because see, only the aim of each and every person, each and every business owner, is to increase their wealth, is to maximize his or her wealth in any manner, in a legitimate manner, I can say. So the merger and acquisition is one of the very fascinating manner in which the individual, increase his or her wealth. I will explain you how. Suppose I am an individual. I have created a consulting company, or a service company, or any kind of the artificial intelligence, machine learning company, or something like that. And I have run that company, say, profitably for 5 years or 6 years or 7 years. And after that, I thought, okay, it's a routine process, and also I have to do something new. So I need the money. So what I will do is that I will sell that company to any another person. Say, I will do the valuation, and after that valuation, the value of the company will come. I will sell that company to any another person, and that company or that person will do the will buy that particular company, because they get the ready to move infrastructure, ready to move the clients, ready to move employees, ready to move the knowledge, and all kind of the experience and all. So it's a good deal. So it is known as the merger and acquisition. So in merger and acquisition earlier, what was the thing is that when there is a deal between the two entities, like A entity wants to purchase the B entity also. So the depreciation on the goodwill part was allowed to be computed on the merger and acquisition deal. So suppose A company wants to acquire B company, then what the A company will do, that at the computation of the value of the B company, if there is a goodwill, either purchased, either self-created, either any kind of goodwill, the goodwill which is coming into the balance sheet of the company, A company used to do the depreciation of that goodwill. And then they reduce the particular assets from that depreciation, and then they reduce the value. But right now, what the government has done, that they have they told that now that depreciation is not allowed, and now the depreciation on the goodwill is not allowed. So if the depreciation on the goodwill is not allowed in the near future in the merger and acquisition deals, so the impact is that uh, we have to do the restructuring of all the M&A deals, and definitely it will also impact on the negotiation parts, or we can say on the buy and the sell part, or on the valuation part. So it's another a move. And one more thing also I want to clarify you to all the people, that when any finance minister, either this one or the past one, when any finance minister used to give the budget, deliver the budget speech into the parliament, so what they are doing is that there are many provisions which they are not speaking in front of the parliament, in front of any house, but those provisions and the circulars or the notification are being implemented silently, which is which is also impacting the people. And how the people used to know, though, that when the people used to read that particular budget. So this goodwill amendment is one of that provision which was not spoken by the honorable finance minister into the parliament, but it has come to the effect. Then I talk about the indirect taxation part. So in indirect taxation part, okay. So one more thing in direct taxation part. So in direct taxation part, the good move the government have done is the faceless scheme. So as of now, we also know that the every company is filing the income tax return. Individuals are filing the income tax return. Businessman is filing the income tax return. So after filing the income tax return, the government is having a internal software known as CASS. So that is the software which used to scrutiny the income tax return, and the government is having the certain conditions and the parameters. So those conditions and the parameters are like based if your income tax return or the information which you have filed in the income tax return will come into that particular parameter, then your case will come under the income tax scrutiny. So what is income tax scrutiny? So income tax scrutiny is nothing, whatever the information which you have filed in your income tax return. So government or the government official who is authorized by the government will do a detailed scrutiny of that particular transaction or the particular the information which you have filed in your income tax return or various kind of other forms, and they will then do the authentication that whether that information which has been filed is correct or not correct, or whether there is assessee has done some concealment or something like that. So earlier what was the issue was that complete process is known as the income tax scrutiny assessment procedure. So that complete procedure was earlier was manual. So the assessee has to hire the tax professionals, and the tax professional used to go to the department and take the time from the government officials, and then manually that thing was done, there. So right now, as the government is focusing more on digital and digital, so government has done all the income tax scrutiny faceless. So in the faceless income tax scrutiny, what the good part is that when you receive any income tax notice for any particular financial year, in which the assessing officer asks you about the different kind of the details, like whatever the transaction you have done or the information you have filed in your ITR, then you don't need to go to the government departments and kill your time. You only prepare the information, scan all the things, and upload all the information into the government website portal. So it's a very good thing. And the good thing is that this is my view. I'm not taking it generalized. That earlier many professionals used to do is that there was some extra out of pocket expenses which the companies or the businessman has to do. You know, like tax professional used to charge a huge amount for the income tax scrutiny from the professionals. So giving into the name that they have to give that particular fees into the government departments and all. So right now with this faceless scheme, I think the government has tried that part to curb on that out of pocket expense. I think everyone is understanding what I'm trying to say in this out of pocket expense. And second thing is also that government has also promoted the digital transactions. So if I talk about the digital transactions, digital move. So so in digital, suppose if I am a professional and I am handling 5 or 6 income tax assessment and all. So I will manage all the 6 assessment from a single office, from a single my room, and without going to the department. So it's a good move. It's a good move. So that is all about the direct taxation part, which is the major part. And there is no changes in a direct taxation part. So taxes are same, then individual taxes are same. Then there is one bad news for the tax professionals, even for me as well. And the bad news is that the government has increased the income tax turnover limit from 5 crore to 10 crore rupees. So what is this? So suppose if I am doing a business and I am having a turnover of 5 crore earlier, then I have to get my books of accounts mandatorily audited by a chartered accountant. So the government has increased that 5 crore limit to 10 crore limit. Like if I am having a turnover of say 10 crore rupees, then I don't need to go to any tax professional or any chartered accountant to get the books of accounts audited. The good part is that the burden of the fees on the shoulders of the assessee will get reduced on this. Secondly, only the condition is that 10 crore rupees turnover should be in the digital form. It should not be in the cash form. So if you are doing the cash form, then your existing 1 crore limit will be there. Otherwise, then 10 crore rupees limit will be there. So this is the another direct taxation move which the government has done. Apart from that, now moving on to the indirect taxation. So if I talk about the indirect taxation, so the government again, the finance minister has silently done the modifications in the GST rules, and uh, they have abolished the GST audit. So I will give you some brief on GST audit. So what is GST audit? So if there is any business house who is having turnover or 2 crore earlier, that business house has to get his or her GST audit done through a chartered accountant, and the information has to be filed in GSTR 9C for each and every year. So right now government has abolished that requirement, and right now there is no requirement for any business for any turnover to to do to get their books of accounts audited in any turnover. So the good part for the government and for the assessee is that there is again the fees will be reduced, and the burden of the fees on the shoulders of the assessee is reduced. And the good part for the government is that they don't have to manage the data of the GSTR 9C, and what I can say, like the compliances, the execution part or the processing part to the government has been reduced. The date extensions and all kind of the crowds and all has been reduced. But the disadvantage of this is that if the assessee has not filed his or her income tax return correctly, or the assessee has not done the GST reconciliation correctly, then in the near future, the burden of penalties, interest, litigations, seizures, and all will be increased. And the assessee has to see that how to, at that point of time, they have to say take the huge penalty. They have to give the huge penalty. So, see, what I'm trying to say here is that, see, the benefit of going to any professional, either it's a tax professional, either it's a consultant, either it's a chartered accountant, company secretary, ICWA, cost accountant, or a lawyer, or any other MBA professional or any other professional. The benefit is that that professional is in that particular field. So the professional will help any person in managing his or her thing which is unorganized. And the best thing is that see, in the world we have to make the things make the things organized. What is unorganized? We have to see, on the land which we are living, either in India or in any another land, we have to follow the rules and regulations. So reducing or curbing these kind of provisions, or reducing the taxpayer burdens will not help, because it will ultimately in the near future will increase the taxpayer penalties and interest, and they have to give. And we are seeing on a daily basis that the taxpayer are giving huge penalties, and happily they are giving, because they have to do their businesses. And if they will not give the interest and penalties, then it is going increasing day by day. So it's not a good move. But the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has recently given his or her submission to the government to take back this provision, and we will see. Then second GST provision which the government has done is like mandatory filing of the GSTR 9 for any business house. So earlier this was the original provision which the government has relaxed in 2018. But now again, the government has done the mandatory filing of the GSTR 9. I mean to say that the self-certification by the business house. So every business house, either it's a turnover of say 1,000 rupees or 10 crore or whatever amount, every business house has to get their GSTR 9 filed by doing the self-certification, by reconciling their sales with the sales sales with the books of account, with the turnover, their ITC, their claims, the credit claims with the GSTR 2A, and has to ensure that everything has been correct, and all the GST compliances has been followed. So it's a good move. And I believe that right now the taxpayers who are unaware, the business houses who are unaware of this fact, or who don't know of this that how to do the reconciliation, will definitely take the tax professional helps in getting their GSTR 9 filed in a proper manner, to avoid the future contingent penalties and interest. Then there is a provision which has come in the indirect taxation. So from the past say 2-3 months or 4 months, we all are listening that the balloon of fake invoices has been burst in many parts of India, in Mumbai, Delhi, Gurgaon, Kolkata, Chennai, and other parts, Gujarat, and all other parts of the India. And there are some tax professionals, there are some business houses, there are some individual consultants, and many more. They are involved in creating the fake invoices, and taking the fake ITCs and all, and making huge losses to the government, in not in lakhs, not in crores, but thousands of crores, say 51 crore, 52 crore, and many more, 400 crore, 500 crores. So people are creating huge firms and taking the huge credits. So to curb that, so right now what the government is doing, that they are having the artificial intelligence software, which is finding such kind of the fake GST invoices, and they are doing the income the GST rates, and finding that kind of the professionals, and the business people. But in near future, to avoid such circumstances, what the government is doing, that they have right now saying that if if you have done any sales, and if the sales has been filed in the GSTR1, then another person who has purchased from you will get the benefit of that, only that ITC which is appearing into the GSTR1. So if the ITC is not appearing in GSTR1, then you will not get the benefit. So the thing is like that. The thing is that now it is mandatory to see that that ITC should be reflecting into the GSTR1. If the ITC is not reflecting in GSTR1, then you can't able to take the ITC credit. And if you are taking the ITC credit, then you have to pay back that ITC credit along with 24% rate of interest. So this is a good part from the government side, and definitely this will help the government in reducing in curbing this fake invoices and the fake ITC. So this is the major indirect taxation part. Apart from that, there is one agriculture and infrastructure cess, which the government has implemented. So that agriculture and the infrastructure cess is is implemented to build in the infrastructure facility to the government. Okay, and right now the people are saying
Sanket,
people are. Yeah.
I think we are going in a very good direction. I am very happy to listen to your response. I'm not stopping you. The discussion will continue. Here, one thing that I think all the panelists will agree with me on is that always when there is budget, of course, budgets are government, and I believe that these are the
Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir, please. Okay, just.
Sanket, the discussion is going in a very right direction, and I believe you all will agree with me that whatever the decisions are taking in the budget, these are the bureaucratic decisions in such as such. And like all the relaxations given to people, either they are the senior citizens or reduction in time of IT proceedings or any kind of incentive for the startup. All these things are generally done by not by the government as such. Government, whatever the government is there, they will have to adopt the policies framed by the bureaucrats. So we'll continue with you. In the meanwhile, I request Professor Shamim to just give insight about the views that you have discussed. Over to you, Professor Shamim.
Yeah, thank you so much. At the very outset, I would like to congratulate Professor Nawab Ali Khan Sahab, the Chairman Department of Commerce, for organizing this panel discussion on Union Budget 21-22. And I'm also thankful to Professor Imran Salim Sahab, the Dean Faculty of Commerce, one of my favorite teachers, who is the part of this panel discussion. And the best part of this panel discussion is the inclusion of some practicing people, like Mr. Sanket Garg. He is practicing chartered accountant. So he has given his deliberation according to the issues which he has handled after the budget. And quite often he might be experiencing all these things. And we have Shabina Fatima by profession. She is a company secretary. So definitely her deliberations are yet to come. And I'm from the academic field. So my concentration is towards the students. I'm sure most of the participants are students in this panel discussion. So they would like to know from their point of view. Actually, whenever budget is presented, people have a lot of expectation. And a lot of deliberations and discussions are going on. Expectations are like everyone is expecting certain benefits from the budget, whether it's students or taxpayers or investors or small scale industries or large corporate houses. Each and every one is expecting something. So here, first of all, many of you are the students. So this was a budget of approximately 34.83. like crores of worth. And budget is a quantitative plan. All of you must know budget is a quantitative plan which estimates the income and expenditure for a particular financial year. So the budget which was presented on 1st February 2021, it was an estimation of as how expenditures of the government will be done, what are the sectors where emphasis will be given, and how this fund will be raised from imposing different taxes or loan or in different other forms of finance. So this was the presentation of the budget, and I think everyone is having expectation before the budget. I was also having some expectation from this budget. The first thing is this budget was a unique one. What I believe, strongly believe, I hope all of you will agree. This budget was a unique one because entire world was suffering from COVID-19, and that's why most of the economic activities of the countries were badly affected. And many startups have closed down. They could not continue during this COVID-19 era. And all of you know very well how things were locked and how business were affected. So it is well-known fact. And second thing, definitely the budget was going to give certain benefits or certain decisions regarding COVID-19. This was the one thing, it was my expectation. And second thing was, government was having a lot of schemes which were in operation, like Make in India, Digital India, Startup, or Atmanirbhar Bharat. A lot of schemes government has initiated earlier to this budget. So definitely this budget was, and during COVID-19 era, during COVID-19, lots of startup companies could not do well and they closed down their businesses because it was not possible for them to continue. So it was expected certain benefits to these central government sponsored schemes. And third thing was the conflict between India and China. That was also before the budget. We have seen there was a conflict between India and China is one of the largest. We are the largest importer from China. A lot of things we were importing from China. So definitely our businesses were affected due to this conflict. Atmanirbhar Bharat and boycott China movement. These things were going on before the budget. And obviously, in general, economic growth and development, controlling inflation, and giving benefit to each and every sector for balanced economic growth and development. These things were expected. And even Honorable Finance Minister said this budget was a unique one. I haven't seen budget like this in my last 6 years. She said like this. And I agree, this budget was a unique one in the sense, she is the first full-fledged finance minister of the country, female finance minister of the country. This budget was presented by her, and it was a unique in the sense it was a digital budget. No paperwork was done. And whenever budget is presented, then there is a lot of reaction and responses from the masses from every nook and corner. And if you want to see the appreciation of the budget, you can listen to any party or any person who is the member of ruling party. Whenever they are asked to give their statement, they will always say goody picture of the budget. And if you want to see the criticism, then you can go to and listen the deliberations of opposition. People who are in opposition, you can see. Even if you want to see the criticism of the budget, you can open NDTV. And if you want to see the goody picture of the budget, you can see Z News. These things are obvious, but we are being academician. We have to be very honest in giving opinions. The first thing is what a common man is expecting from the budget. Certain things will be costly and certain things will be cheaper. These things are the interest of the common man. So wherever, and I'm very sure those who are smokers, those who are drinkers, they always criticize budget. The reason being always import duty and excise duty is increased. I'm sure they're not happy with the budget. What's the reason why always there is increase in the excise duty and taxes on the alcohol and smoke, like cigarette or gutka, pan masala, all these things? The reason being the price of these products is price inelastic. When you increase the taxes, prices will increase, but demand will not be affected. So it's very easy for the government to impose taxes on those products which are price inelastic. This is the very reason. And one of the students asked the question that why always deficit budget is presented. The reason being, whatever government has planned to spend, government is showing that entire spending and development will not be at the cost of general public by imposing taxes. Certain amount will be borrowed from outside. So entire burden of the economic development and growth will not be on the shoulder of the investors or common man. That's why deficit budget is presented. It is called populist budget or socialist budget. Then what students need to know, my special attention to my students. Whenever budget is presented or any new thing is happening in business world, what you need to understand why it is important for you. See, you are the future of the country, you are the future of the nation, and all of you are studying, especially the students of management, economics, and commerce directly, and other students indirectly. All of you are studying about business environment, like it is going to affect the business. So exactly, budget is going to make a lot of changes, lot of reshuffling will take place in the functioning of different business houses, and that's why you need to understand. And the best manager is one who is able to understand the impact of a particular change in the budget on the performance of a particular company or industry or sector. And accordingly, you have to adjust, you have to protect, you have to work for your organization in such a way that the impact is quite minimum on your business. And that's why it is very important for all the students to understand. Even take the example of investors. I think we call stock exchanges are called barometer of the economy. Like it's a bookish language. In every book you have studied, stock exchange is called barometer of an economy. What about the response of this budget to stock market? You know, stock market was quite up. There was a bumper response of the investors. They welcomed the budget. I'm not supporting or I'm not appreciating anything, but it was welcomed by the investors. And I'm not saying this, I'm saying on the basis of the reference, the index move in such a way. Index move in such a way, and after 1997, this is the first instance when on the day of budget, even before the presentation of the budget, market was quite high. So investors have welcomed the steps taken by, the reason being a lot of emphasis is given on the infrastructure development, maybe on time, like immediately there is no any benefit to anyone, but in time to come, corporate world or entire economy will do better. And see, if government is imposing taxes, it is for what? For you people. Try to recall during World War II, you know, the income tax rate, corporate tax rate was 94% in America. In Second World War, America was heavily involved in World War, and lot of expenses, lot of amount was required. So they imposed on higher slab. Tax rate was 94%, and that up to 90% lasted for, I think, 10 to 15 years. So America said, we are involved in the World War for what? For you people, and that's why you have to bear the cost. So if you want to, government, whosoever is the ruling party, they always look for the betterment. But you know, whenever discussion always goes on when budget is presented. I don't know why discussion is not there for the previous budget, what they planned, what they proposed, and what they achieved. So this is my point of view. Investors, it was welcomed by the investors. The reason being, it was giving a huge boost to the economy as a result of heavy capital expenditure, infrastructure, road or metros, and you can capital nature items were more emphasized. So at this point of view, at this point of time, this is my point of view, and I think we should listen to others also, because some practicing people are there. And Sanket Garg has rightly said a lot of things which he faced during practicing his profession.
Professor M, you rightly pointed out that this is in fact a no-harm budget for all of us, because the budget was announced under the shadows of coronavirus pandemic and protests from centers against the farm bill, farm laws. So at a time when the country was dealing through such kind of fallouts of pandemics, experts and everyone, even a common man, was expecting that the minister will raise the taxes and even introduce a COVID cess, and that's what has happened. So I will now hand over to Ms. Shabina Fatima to look at from this point of view what individuals were expecting and how far the budget has met their expectations in the long run. Over to you, Shabina. Shabina, you are not our student, but we treat you like our student because this program is for students, so we are using our services of our students only.
First of all, I would like to thank you to Nawab sir for giving such a warm welcome, and to the AMU, for giving me an opportunity to present my views on the budget 2021. So in this budget, there were not such major changes which government has imposed with regard to the Companies Act, but there are certain changes which they have given. So the major change which they have proposed, or which they have given, is that they have changed the definition of the small companies. So as per earlier, the small companies was to be regarded as with a paid up share capital of 50 lakhs and turnover up to 2 crore. But they have increased these limits to paid up share capital to 2 crores and turnover to 20 crores. So this limits, as they have increased these limits, so they have given the opportunity to some of the companies around the companies of 2 lakh companies to avail the exemptions of small companies. There are a number of exemptions which are given to these small companies. Some exemptions are like these small companies are not required to prepare the cash flow statement, so they are exempted from preparing those cash flow statement. They do not have to report in their audit report regarding the operative effectiveness or the internal financial controls. Or there are various other exemptions which a small company used to get. So by increasing these limits, many of the business houses have will be able to get these benefits, and they'll be able to comply more with the compliances which government has imposed. Further, the next major change which government has given is they have made changes with regard to the 1% company. Basically, in 1% company, earlier there was it was that only a resident Indian can create and form a 1% company. But uh, with this budget 2021, it has been said even the non-resident Indians, even the non-resident person can create a 1% company in India, and they can run a company through this mode also. There was another major change in this 1% company, that they have reduced the limit of resident Indians. They said before it was that if a person is staying in India for 182 days will be regarded as resident Indian. But now they have said that if a person has stayed in India within for 120 days, they will also be regarded as resident. So they have reduced the limit from 182 days to 120 days. Further, the major other change which the government has given is that they said they have they said that the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, that they'll come up with the this new site of MCA 21 version 3.0, which will be they will revamp the MCA portal by launching MCA 21 version 3.0. This new version will be using data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning devices, and will have additional modules for e-scrutiny, e-adjudication, e-consultation, and compliance management. So this new version of MCA will be more digitalized and will help the professionals and even the stakeholders more in their compliances and in going through with their work. The other major change which the government has allowed is that they have proposed to increase the permissible FDI limits in insurance companies.
Shabina,
Currently, it was
Shabina, we will continue with your discussion. I can see on the screen our Dean, Professor Imran Salim.
okay.
I request him to please greet our attendees.
Thank you, Nawab. We could have listened, had no issues.
No, sir,
I'll
because
join.
you're a busy man, you can leave anytime. So
Let me really congratulate you in the first place, then in that case, and the resource persons to really being able to spare their time, valuable time. My apologies at the outset that I really couldn't attend such a valuable session. And I had some prior engagements. I'm very sorry. I'm extremely sorry. And therefore, I actually opted out and requested Nayyar to request Shamim Saab, who is a better person than me, I'm sure. His contributions will be very valuable. And I appreciate all the attendees really in the true sense, because this is something that I think the department need to think and ponder. It's not just about the direct taxation, about the GST, but the holistic picture of the budget, that how it is going to affect the macro economy across the nation, how different sectors are going to come up, because that may lead to certain indications that if somebody want to put in some investment, where to do that, where to, because the personal things like income tax or something, anybody who relates to that would be able to cover up actually. And I'm sure that one can take advantage of consultancies and services as well. But understanding the holistic position of the budget would be very instrumental in developing the comprehension of the students regarding the importance of the budget in the national economy. I congratulate once again all the attendees and the Honorable Chairman of the department to host such a good event. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mathri, our dean. He's a very dynamic dean of the university. You all must note here, because we have with us some started accountants who are not well known to us, but I think they are giving company to Sanket. So we are lucky to have some more chartered accountants with us. Now, over to you, Shabina. Please continue.
So, the other main thing which the government has given is that they have proposed to increase the permissible FDI limits for insurance companies. Earlier, it was the FDI was allowed till 49%. Foreign direct investment was allowed in insurance companies of for 49%, but they have increased this to 74%. By increasing this FDI limits, they have allowed that even the foreigners can invest into the Indian insurance companies till 74%. But by allowing the FDI limits, they have even regulated certain things. They said that the majority of the directors on the boards of the company should be of resident India, and even and even the majority of the directors should be independent, so that the main concern or the management of the company is majorly with the resident Indians. Further, the other major change which the which has been proposed in this budget is that they have proposed to consolidate the various provisions of the securities market. Like they have proposed to consolidate the laws of SEBI Act 1992, Depositories Act, Securities Regulations, Contract Regulations Act, Government Securities Act into one code, that is Securities Market Code. This will help all the stakeholders, all the professionals to better understand the securities law and comply with that. So all these were the changes which was proposed in this budget by the government with respect to the securities laws or with respect to the Companies Act. That's all from my side.
Okay, Sanket, now over to you. I would like to know from you about some new schemes which the government has launched in this budget.
So, sir, frankly speaking,
you can carry on your material also, but in the meanwhile, because it was coming to my mind, so I thought our attendees would like to listen some new things from the government.
Yeah, sure. I will definitely. Okay, so frankly speaking, that government has not implemented any new particular scheme in this particular budget, and the existing schemes which are going on, they have continued those schemes for the further years or the deductions or the sections. Okay. Now, one thing I would like to tell to the AMU students and all the listeners who are listening, apart from the taxpayers and apart from the tax professionals and all. So over to the students. So students, if you want to learn how the things are moving on into India, if you want to learn how the economy is moving, what is your contribution, how you can contribute, how you can move the things in your particular manner, I will give you a small technique. So that small technique is, as you can create a one person company. If one, see, as of now you are a student, okay, but say after 2 years or 3 years after completing your graduation or the post graduation or whatever the degree you are enrolled with, you will enter into the business world. Either you will do the job or either you will do the business. So to understand the complications which you will going to understand, say after next 5 years or 6 years. So what the good thing is that you start from now. See, suppose I am a BCom first year student, graduation first year student. I don't know anything. I've just taken the entrance exam, entrance into the Aligarh Muslim University. So now what is the budget? How the economy is moving on? What are the different sectors? Healthcare, pharma, aviation, then chemical, automobiles, how the industry is moving on, how to get the benefit on all these things. If I go into the pharma sector, what the pharma sector is there, how much FDI is involved. So there are, this is a complex net, and this net is not going to be reduced, because see, as we are moving faster and we are developing, so to when you are growing, then the rules and regulations, the burden of rules and regulations will also increase. Because if the burden of rules and regulations will not increase, then the negative things will also come. So to curb those negative things, the government is also implementing new things. So I will say to the AMU students and to all my listeners that if you want to understand what is budget, what is the economy, what are the economic policies, what are the fiscal policies, in which sector the economy is growing. So start right now. You can start with the small, your business. You can incorporate the companies, you understand the laws, you try to implement the laws which you are reading in your day-to-day life. Suppose I'm giving you a simple example. Suppose many students are living into the hostels. They too, they are also doing, taking the coaching classes or some kind of the another part-time things. So they start filing their income tax returns. They start taking the exemptions of the rent they are paying, the expenses they are incurring. So if so see, right now there are a lot of the videos, lot of the government FAQs and all, through which you can directly do the things yourself without taking the help of the professionals and to reduce your cost. So right now this is the right time to understand the things. Because see, whenever there is any budget, to understand the budget in a complete manner, you need to know the back end scenarios, the back end things in any sector which is going on. Okay, so my suggestion is to each and every student that you do the startup. Suppose there is a startup policy, there is a fund. So what is fund of fund? I will give you a small explanation. Fund of fund is that key startup, you create the startup, you do it register, then you go to the incubator and all. So these are the theoretical things. So frankly speaking, theory is only a single thing, but right now it's your good age to do the experiment, to do the implementations. What is M&A, what is the mergers, how to sell the company, how to buy the company, what is the shares, how to take the investment. See, when I see too many people, like 21-year IITian has bring the FDI into India, has bring this much million of the funding into India, what is the pitch deck. So I also sometimes astonished and see that, okay, like what is going on. Like when I was this person, when I was the age of this person, I see this person has not done that much growth. So to each and everyone, my humble request and advice is you try to explore the thing in your own manner, to try to implement all the laws in your own manner. Either it's a direct tax law, either it's an indirect tax law, or either it's any kind of law. Because when you start, doing something, when you start doing something, then how, what is the what is the laws, what are the laws, how you can take the benefits, what are the lacunas in the laws. And right now the good part is that the government is having different kind of the RTIs, different kind of the discussion forums, different type of the suggestion forums, wherein you will also give your suggestions that okay, this is the lacuna and this lacuna need to be fulfilled in that particular manner. So this is my only humble advice to all the students, that this is the right time. You yourself start, or you 2 or 3 or 4 friends can club in, you create a particular idea, either it's a machine learning, AI, robotics, or a commerce field, or a finance field, or anyone, and do start growing. Then that will increase, building your foundation. And after 3-4 years, after going out from the AMU, when you start your professional career, either in a job, either in a business, then I will bet you that that will give you the tremendous knowledge. You already being flourished. See, the benefit of AMU, there is a star. I always thrilled in when I used to come to AIM. It is my second house. I must say it is my second house, and the respect and see from starting, I was trying to be a part of this esteemed organization. So my humble request to all the students is that as of now, what you can do is that you can incorporate a company. I'm not saying directly incorporate a company. Start thinking that what additional you can do apart from your studies. How you can support. Either you can support your family business. Try to organize the unorganized things, either which is going into your family, in your personal life, in your business, or either try to build in any particular business which is organized. So start organizing the thing in a professional manner. And when you start organizing the thing in a professional manner and implement the laws, then I will bet you that you start, enjoying the laws. Either it's any kind of law, either it's a direct taxation or indirect taxation, and then you enjoy, and then you also understand that how the things are moving on. See, if I talk about the overall, so overall, I particularly see that when the middle class and the poor class of the India is growing, then the budget is stable. See, the budget is not stable, because the poor is becoming more poorer, middle class is becoming more that is also in the category of going into the poor category. So the budget is moving on. So many a times, means the balanced budget is not there. So I must say that to know and understand all these things, you should implement the budget and the policies. And how you implement the policy? You think, you create an idea, start unorganizing, making the unorganized thing into organized manner, and then implement most of the schemes. So now coming back to the government schemes. So for startups, so I will give some emphasis on the startup, that what is a startup. So a startup is a company, a business. A business is known as a startup when you are having any unique idea, when you are filling the gap of any particular thing. Suppose if you are in the pharma industry, you are in the healthcare industry, or you are in the automobile industry, and you have created something, some innovative thing, which is fulfilling the gap, the difficulties which people are facing on a day-to-day basis. And when you when you fulfill that difficulty, when you overcome that difficulty, when you generate a solution to overcome that difficulty, that is known as the ultimate innovation. And then you recognize that this startup. And when you recognize a startup, the benefit is that you will get the funding from the government of India, from different organizations, the PE firm, venture capitalists, and all, to grow your business from 0 to scale 1, scale 2, scale 3, scale 4, and scale 5. So you generate the ideas to all the students, either of the any stream, either of any semester, to understand all the laws practically. Try to implement that law or the provisions in your day-to-day basis life, and you see that how the things are moving on, and then you see the joy of that. Now, coming back to one of the another major move which government of India is seeing is in respect of the disinvestment. So what is disinvestment? So disinvestment simply means when the government sells their asset to the private companies, to the private organizations, and take the money because they are in short of the money, or they think that they will utilize that particular money in a best possible manner, and the asset is not creating the enough money or the enough cash flows. So right now the government is moving toward the privatization. So privatization means there are Maharatna companies, there are PSUs, there are Navratna companies. So public sector undertakings are the undertaking in which the government is having 50% stake, 50% shareholdings. So right now what the government is doing, that they will sell their 50% stake to the private companies, to the private business houses. And the government is seeing that particular benefit in the manner that when they sell the stake, they will get the money, and that public sector undertaking or PSU, which is going into the losses or which is not able to generate enough resources or enough cash flow from that particular asset, will be revived. Because there are many organizations. I'm giving a simple example of Air India. So government of India from past 3 years is trying their level best. They are taking the bid from different kind of the different industries and all to sell the stake in Air India. But as of now, they are not successful because they don't get the any kind of the buyer of the stakes of the Air India. So this is one of the another move. The benefit for the private owners is that their area of expansion will be their means they will get the more their area will expand, their horizon will expand, and they will also get the benefit of increasing their businesses. And see, if I talk about the India, so private businesses having huge cash flows, they are organized, they have huge networks, and they know how to do the business. And in private organizations, they manage the timings, they manage the cash flows. So they think that if they have some of the existing PSUs assets, then definitely they will run. And government is also moving on to the US economies, to the Swiss economies, to the European economies, wherein the government is not handling directly any kind of the asset, and government is doing the PPP model, like public partnership model, wherein the government is giving their assets to the private companies and enjoy the benefits which is reaping from those private companies. Another example you can take of NHAI. The government has given the a road construction to NHAI, and they are taking the benefit of them.
Okay,
So
very nice. Just sorry for interruption here again. Actually, we are going in a very good direction again, and I'm receiving some messages from some attendees that they are looking. I'm very happy that we have covered individuals, we have covered corporate sector, we have seen FDI also. There is some demand from our attendees regarding the budget provisions or budget support for the education and employment. So I request the panelists to please throw some light on this aspect also. What is there in the budget for the education? What is their budget for the removal of unemployment? And how the government is going to take up this issue with this budget? So over to Professor Singh now to throw some light on this aspect. Sanket, we'll be back to you.
Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. As far as the education sector is concerned, I think it has been a bit disappointing because 6,000 crores of fund has been reduced as compared to previous budget. Though number of Eklavya schools and one central university in Leh has been proposed, but as far as the core of education is R&D, research and development. Mostly the budget has been reduced, so in future students will be you will experience that lots of fundings which government was giving to pursue the research work or for different projects, definitely all these things. So I think a bit disappointing. Another thing is, when we talk about always we are studying that we are one of the fastest growing country of the world, fastest developing country of the world. But when we see our position worldwide, we are not even in top 60 countries in terms of ease of doing business, easy to do business. We are not among, it means all those who are successful in doing business, how much effort and commitment they have done, you can imagine we are not even among top 60 countries in terms of ease of doing business. This is about ease of doing business, but what about ease of starting business? We have started the schemes that Startup India, but in terms of ease of starting business, nothing has been done. I was just reading somewhere that in Delhi, if you want to start a restaurant, 45 certifications are required. You just imagine how difficult it will be for a person who is willing to start the business. So I think nothing has been done in this budget in this regard, that ease of doing business, though we are talking about a startup. One good step is 1 year tax holiday has been extended for for startup companies. But I think very soon it will be next year again. It will be extended. I think 1 or 2 years is not enough for that. One thing is, one old proverb is, "Boss is always right." Similarly, I think government is always right. Whosoever is ruling is always right. They always say. I'm still recalling when on 24th July 1991, a huge restructuring of Indian economy was made by introducing a new economic policy called Policy of Economic Liberalization or Globalization. Then there was a lot of opposition that disinvestment was one of the important features. Try to recall disinvestment, devaluation, all these things were the important feature of new economic policy, and that time it was criticized by all the opposition parties. And now disinvestment has is no more occurs. And actually the reason is that due to COVID-19, government doesn't want to impose extra taxes on general public. That's why 1.75 lakh crores of fund government has planned in this budget to raise by selling the stake of some of the PSUs, Navratan or Mahanaratan or Mini Navratan. Some of the companies will be sold, and in the list are like Air India, Pawan Hans, and LIC, IDBI. So in this way, and even properties and lands, I think Vijay Kelkar for quite longer time, he was talking about monetization of lands and properties. If you see the Indian railway track, lots of properties are there which are useless. But I think I'm a bit disappointed in the way these properties should not have been sold. I think these should have been given on lease basis. That would have been a better idea. On lease basis, that would have been given by the government. But all these uh, unutilized properties and lands of railways and other like government entities will be sold to private and multinational companies in order to raise more and more funds. So now privatization is no more occurs, and now government is saying now all these things are for the welfare, for the well-being of the economy. So these are certain things. And one more thing is like introduction of agriculture education says that is 2.5 rupees per rupees on per liter of petrol and rupees 4 on diesel. That further, I think it has irritated the common man, though they were expecting some tax benefit. You know, government always try to highlight some petty things. If some petty things are highlighted, it shows these are the achievements. Like for example, in the name of exemption of taxes, like salary taxpayers were expecting some exemptions in tax, but nothing has been given, except some relaxation is given to those taxpayers, pensioners over 75 years of age. It has been highlighted everywhere. Like whenever we have seen the highlight of the budget 21-22, it has been highlighted. But if you see how many people are there, over 75, I don't think more than 10,000 to 15,000 people. But that is also subject to condition. A star is there. If their income is only in the form of pension and interest on bank deposit. If there is any other income, then they have to go for filing of income tax return. Otherwise, they are exempt from filing of income tax return. It has been highlighted. And I'm happy that a lot of stress is given in this budget on health. Actually, overall health budget has increased to 137%, 137%. It was expected because of COVID-19. 35,000 crore has been allocated for vaccination, and for water supply, universal water supply. That a scheme has been launched. That's a good idea because of the problems like urban areas were facing. So I think this particular step. Important thing is we are the good policy maker in the world, but let's see how successful we will be in terms of implementation of the policy. This is only just the beginning, let's say. So these are certain things. See, R&D department, like in every large organization, R&D department is very important, which always brings innovation, creativity in order to bring efficiency. Similarly, R&D department, like research has been totally neglected in this. This is a very disappointing thing. And research always brings the country to the pinnacle. If USA is on the top, it is because of their R&D. If like any country is on the top because of their R&D, so we have curtailed the budget on higher education. So this is my point of view, and I think opportunity should be given to some others. I'm happy to listen others.
Thank you, Professor Shamim. In fact, it was a good insight about this special issue. There is one message from in chat box from Mridul Pundir. is the government eating the share of private sector by engaging in businesses like hotels, airline, etc.? Why should not only become a good regulator? So I pose this question to Ms. Shabina Fatima to just respond to this. In the meanwhile, there's one more query from some females because we have a large number of females attending this session. They are looking for the schemes of government in this budget for females this time. So this is also to you, Shabina. And after that, I keep the house open for discussion. We will conclude the session after we'll take some questions. So after this, Shamina gives the answer to this question. We look for some of the queries from some of our attendees.
The question is that the government eating the share of private sector by engaging in businesses like hotels, airlines, etc. So for this, I like to state that the government is giving a lot of exemptions, a lot of opportunities to the businesses in the form of relaxing various norms, in the forms of relaxing various compliances, so that they are able to run their businesses. And this phrase that the government is eating the share of private sector, I don't think so that it is an apt statement. They are not eating the share of private sector, but they are actually in this budget they have declared the word of privatization, and they came up with this concept of privatization of various industries, of various industries like LIC, various companies like LIC, and other IDBI and other things. So the statement that the government is eating the share of private sector, I don't think so it's apt. Further, there was that if there's anything related to the female welfare the government has came up with. So as such, in this budget, the government has not come up with any such exemptions to the women's or welfare of the women. So it's basically
Great. I think this is the budget which has been announced in the pandemic situation. So we are not expecting anything good for everyone because the government has its own focus on health, of course. Now the house is open for discussion. I request all the attendees to give their queries if they have or they want to participate in discussion. Or panelists are there, they will respond to your queries. So this house is now open for discussion.
So
Before we continue this discussion, you can send your message in chat box also.
So to all the AMU students, I would also like to highlight one of the good deductions which they can, take the benefits. So that is the education loan. See, as of now, all the AMU students are doing some of their courses, like graduation, like post graduation, and all something and all. But the thing is that many times to take the professional education, they need some of the funding, additional funding. So I would like to highlight to all the students who are studying into AMU that they should take the education loan from the various banks and NBFCs, and they will then, after completing their education, when they repay the loan, then they will take that deduction under section 80E to the tune of 1.5 lakh rupees. So that is a good news. Means it's not a good news, it's a old provision, but I don't know that how many of students know about this particular provision. So my point is that if any student wants to enhance their career by studying any kind of course, then a student take the loan and will take the benefit of interest payable on that loan, but it is only available up to only 8 years after repayment. So that is my side from the for the students of the AMU.
Okay, so I think Sanket has given answer to the question which was not asked, but it would have been definitely in the minds of many students. I think with this expectation, that session has gone very successfully and all the points have been covered. Now I request Dr. Nayarman to please present a vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. At the very outset, I would like to thank the Chairman, Department of Commerce, Professor Nawab Ali sir, my beloved teacher, for because he's the brainchild of this program. He initiated and encouraged us to organize this program and arranged all the esteemed speakers for this particular program. So I'm thankful to Professor Nawab Ali Khan Sahab for arranging this program for all the students and for all the other viewers who are watching it on YouTube Live. Next, I'm thankful to Dean, Faculty of Commerce, Professor Imran Salim Saab, for encouraging to organize the program, and then the panelists, particularly Chartered Accountant Sanket Garg, who has been my class fellow as well. He has today given lots of information and delegate information, I can say, which everybody will get benefit of, starting from deductions to what can be done to start up and taking tax holidays, etc. To Sabina Fatma, she's a company secretary. Thank you for being there for the students to highlight the important issues, particularly what is going to be the impact of the change in FDI limits. Our respected teacher, Professor Muhammad Shamim Saab, for enlightening all of us, particularly with the issues which are related from education perspective of the budget, as well as from the information which students, the basic information which students required in order to understand the budget. And I'm thankful to all the audience, all the participants who registered for the events, and also the audience and participants who are watching the event live on YouTube. I hope that such kind of deliberations will continue in future as well, and whatever deliberations has happened today will benefit all of us in understanding the policies of the government and intention of the government, and that will be a prosperity for all of us and for the country as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nayyar. Before we say goodbye to each other, I request all the faculty members who are here to please join me over a cup of tea. Shabina, your tea, your snacks are due. Whenever you come to your office and have it with us. It is in safe deposit. All the best to all of you. Thank you very much.